a video on me faffing around with something. So I made a pasta bake and I used for the base of it, not pasta, well obviously I used pasta for the base of it, but I used some leftover leek soup as like the moist element of it. I suppose like the ragu element of it. And it worked, and it was very nice. And I was kind of thinking, well, it worked with homemade leek soup. Let's just have a go with tinned soup. So, because obviously I make my own soups, can you really be able to do that? Probably not. So, can we get the same results from a tinned soup? And then, so I was in the supermarket, and these are from Lidl. So I'll notice that the creamy lasagna sauce is about the same price. So what was the chicken soup was 62 pence for 400 grams, and then the white sauce was 69 grams. Is that right? Yeah. So it's you get a little bit. You get 470 grams. So you get 70 grams more for not that much more money. So I was kind of thinking, well, if you really want to make it really cheap, you could use the creamy white sauce. But there's not that much flavour in that, is there, really? It's just like a white sauce. But I think you could make your own, but do you really kind of want to do that? And probably not. So we'll have a taste of that, and we'll compare it to the taste of the cream of chicken soup. I thought about getting mushroom, or if they had a leek or something like that, I thought they would have worked just as fine. I've just taken the label off because I don't want it to get kind of quite messy. So we'll look at consistency, we'll give it a bit of taste. I have got some white onion soup that I've made, and I'm going to do an alternative version as well. So let's give this a taste and see what we think. It's alright, it's chicken soup. I could make better, no doubt you could as well. Yeah, making a pasta bake out of just that, that's not really going to work. It will work with that. So we'll use that in something else. Now we've got a bit left to live in the fridge. So I did some calculating, and I reckoned that I could make 2.2 litres worth of white onion soup for £2.38, and that's for 2.2 litres. So obviously that's going to be cheaper making your own white onion soup, and a lot nicer than tinned chicken soup. Yeah, much nicer. Much nicer. Now, it's going to be quite a simple one, and I'm putting it together today because I'm going to bake it tomorrow, but I've got time today, and I don't want to have to do it tomorrow when I've got less time. So I'm going to do one version with the chicken soup and lasagna sheets, and then I'm going to do one version with my onion soup, and I'm going to use cheap spaghetti rather than lasagna sheets. So a layer of cheap spaghetti, a layer of sauce, and then cheap spaghetti, and then layer of soup, and then layer of cheap spaghetti, and kind of build it up like that, and then a layer of sauce, stroke. I'm trying to rush through this, and I shouldn't rush through this because I'm flubbering my words. So then a layer of soup at the very top, and then a layer of cheese. So, and we'll use the cheap stuff. My attitude is, just because we're on a little bit of a budget doesn't mean we can't have nice food. It's a lot easier to buy good quality ingredients, which are normally a lot more expensive, and make a nicer dish. But it's more expensive. And so you kind of think, well, I'd still like nice food, and you can have nice food, and you can make it with cheaper ingredients. You just have to put a little bit more work in. So we'll use that on top, and then it'll be like a bit of a pasta bake. I'm not going to call it lasagna, even though they're using lasagna sheets. So I shall begin. I shall do a couple of layers of each. I will pause for a bit, and we'll just open a few things, and then the video is not too long. but we'll do a couple of layers of each, and then you kind of get the idea of what I'm doing, and then we can get also an idea of quantities as well. So I've got some extra lasagna sheets. I've got some extra pasta sheets. We'll count these lasagna sheets now, and then we kind of know what we've got. So we have got, in this packet, we have got 3, 6, that's 5. Let's just take them out and count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 25 of those, and it's 500 grams. And then there is 500 grams worth of spaghetti. What was that priced at? Well, lasagna sheets were 75 pence. That was 29 pence. So like less than half the price. So, and I'm all about cutting the price of things down. And then in there I know that there's 1.6 litres worth of soup. And then we can do like the calculation of how much soup we've used, how many tins we've used, how much pasta, how much cheese we've used on the top. And then we get an idea of price, and then it's not just about kind of flavouring that type of thing. So I've been waffling on far too much. So we'll just pause a bit and then we'll kind of get some stuff together, and then we'll kind of put things together. Right, so chicken soup. How much in the bottom? That's 2 tablespoons. So I reckon 4 tablespoons per layer, and then probably about the same as this. 2, 3, 4. I will put the recipe in for the white onion soup because it's rather delicious and it's rather simple. It's just about going to be the cheapest soup that you can make, I think. So, and I've just snapped these spaghettis. I know it's a cardinal sin to snap spaghetti, but we need it to fit in this dish. So, as you can see, I'm just going to use these spaghettis as the layer of pasta. I need more than I actually do. Yeah, so it's a cardinal sin to snap spaghetti. But I apologise, but we're not Italian and we're not in Italy. Right, so about that much per layer. I should have weighed that beforehand, but we'll see what's left afterwards. Maybe I will make up one of the layers out of broken bits, and then what do we think about this? So you just snap the corners off like that, and then it fits a little bit better into the corner there. It's a little bit too big, not to worry. Maybe just needs to snap more of that off. Put those little bits in there. That might work a little bit better. Oh, that's okay. And then we need a bit for the other end, so that can just hide in there. We know we need to make more of an angle to get those in like that. So that's one sheet. So then another layer of maybe still 4. It's 4 that time. And then another layer of lasagna sheets on there, and then the same with this. So another 4-ish tablespoons. Now we need to put enough liquid in that there's going to be enough liquid in to cook the pasta, but not too much liquid that it wants to just be soupy. We don't want a pasta and chicken or onion soup, do we? We don't want that. So like that. That's another layer like that. And then we've got these broken bits, so we'll use those because it's not going to matter if we're going to no one's going to be able to tell. We don't want to waste them. Well, I suppose we could save them for soup, but then it's another thing that goes in the cupboard that we have to think of a use of, isn't it? Doesn't have to be exact. So, right, so you've got the idea of what I am faffing around with. So, next time we can build up we'll do the same again, build up the layers, and finish off with some pasta sauce. Well, soup on the top, and then top it with cheese. So, I'll build up the layers, and then we're back when I've got some idea of how much of each we've used. So, we have used 3 400-gram tins of chicken soup. We have used 15 sheets of pasta. We have used just over a litre of the homemade onion soup, like 1 litre, 50 grams, 50 millilitres, something like that. And we've used 300 grams worth of spaghetti in the onion soup one. So probably roughly about the same amounts of each-ish type of thing. Same amount of pasta, same amount of liquid. I'll measure the containers so you can get an idea of what kind of volume that they are. And then I'm going to bake these tomorrow, so I'm not going to grate the cheese on because the cheese will have a habit of sinking, and we want the cheese to be crispy on top. So if we put the cheese on last minute and then bake them, we'll get that nice crispy cheese on the top, which we want. So that's that, and we're back either tomorrow or the day after, depending on when I bake them, to finish off. So I'm just about ready to cook, but I have noticed this has gone a little bit watery, so I don't know the chicken soup one if that's going to be just quite as successful as that one, the onion soup recipe. So let's just put the cheese on the top. I was thinking about maybe putting some more. No, I'm going to have to do it. I was going to put if we put a bit more lasagna sheets on top, and then it'll create a little bit of a raft, and then that cheese won't sink. I think probably should have made it fresher, as in put it together and then put it in the oven, but we'll see how we go. I'm sure that pasta will cook from one side, I'm sure it will. But that will just create a raft, so that cheese, it's going to sink anyway, isn't it? Maybe we have to thicken the soup up. Maybe. But we'll find out. I'm generally more curious about finding out things, and if things are a success, it's fine. So, gonna go swimming, so those can go in the oven. Oh yeah, 100 grams each, just so we've got the recipe. They can go in the oven. I'm going to be out for about an hour and a half, so 125, and then we'll turn them up when we get in, and we'll see how they turn out. Right, these smell ready. Let's have a look. Now they're nice and bubbly. If we can get them out. So, that's the onion. This is the chicken soup, looking a bit wet, but let's just give them 10 minutes just to cool down and set up, and then we'll have a look at them and see if they've kind of improved. We probably need to thicken up the chicken soup if we're going to make a pasta bake with chicken soup, unfortunately. Or maybe we could just choose chicken soup with like a different type of pasta, like penne or something like that. But anyway, we'll give them 10 minutes just to cool down, and then we can give them a taste. Have a look. So, scissors to cut the cheese on the top, otherwise the first person gets all the cheese. It's fine if you live by yourself, isn't it? Or if you don't care about who you live with, but these are a bit wet. These are a bit wet. Ooh, that's interesting. That's terribly overcooked spaghetti. So, now how is this one? pasta sunk into a solid blob that's not going to want to come out. Oh. Right. So, don't look particularly amazing, do they? But it's all about what's inside that counts. That certainly needs thickening up. Why have I got a spoon? Certainly needs thickening up if we were to try that again. We probably do have to try that again. See if it works any different with thicker. See, it's just formed into one solid blob, which will, yeah, so it could do to be thicker to stop that from happening. And probably needs to be made and then put straight in the oven. How does it taste? Alright. Still very hot. Alright. It's not amazing by any stretch of the imagination. But I suppose if we had some vegetables like some leeks and some onions and used the tomato soup as the basis of the sauce, like I did with the pasta bake in the previous video, so not this video, the one before, I suppose that could have worked. But just using it as a soup like that, probably not a good idea. And even if to thicken it up, something similar is kind of going to happen, and it's not that amazing flavoured anyway. So that's probably down to the quality of the soup. If I'd have made the chicken soup, it probably would have been nicer. So how is this one with the spaghetti? Much nicer, but that's down to the fact that I made the onion soup, isn't it? So I don't think we can just buy tins of soup and use them as a pasta sauce. And I don't think using a tin of pasta sauce would have worked either. But anyway, we could certainly use the chicken soup or a mushroom soup, and we could add that to other vegetables and use that as a base for the vegetable layer. But just like that, not really. Same with it. We could use, I've made a video where I use spaghetti instead of lasagna sheets in a pasta bake, and it works. But you kind of need something in between the layers as well as the pasta, so otherwise you just end up cooking a block of spaghetti. But anyway, tried it, and it didn't have the results that I kind of quite like. So therefore, that's kind of like a failure. But it's better that we do something, we find out that it don't work, isn't it? You know, that's just as important to find out things that do work. Anyway, so there we go. I'll eat it anyway.